Shabbat Shalom. We can continue to talk amongst ourselves. We are just now live on YouTube. Beware, everything you say can be used against you.
Can and will be used against you.
Or for you.
And make sure you have sunglasses in the car for the trip.
It is a sunny day.
Yeah, some strange object up in the sky.
All right, Rabbi, you're good.
Thank you.
Hi, Barbara, sorry.
Barbara is probably trying to get on.
Right.
Ann is our tech guru.
Yes.
That's the worst, is taking a long trip and it's sunny and you forgot your sunglasses and it's winter, so you don't normally have them in your bag. Yeah.
So I leave my sunglasses in the car, but I have the luxury of they're like, you know, inexpensive. They're not prescription. My husband has one pair of prescription sunglasses. If he leaves them in the car, they can actually melt if his car is in the sun, which we learned the hard way. So he has to remember every time he wants to take them. I'm like, maybe we should just get you a second pair that won't melt in the car. Yeah, there are these fancy lenses that just, they got messed up in the heat of the summer, which is not an issue right now. All right, we're expecting a few more folks. So we'll give it another minute or two and then we'll get started. So I'm just taking a straw poll. So Eileen's waiting for her second vaccine. Sherry, did you get your second vaccine?
I haven't gotten my first.
Oy, okay, but you have an appointment.
No, I have no idea what to do. I tried with the state and I've gotten nothing. I'm having my eye surgery done on Monday, so I want to wait till after that.
Yeah.
Right.
When I finish my drops. So I'll probably hold off for another month.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then I'll come for help.
Yes,
I'm sure someone can help you.
Yeah, we actually have some folks who are really good at making lots of phone calls and, you know, calling different providers for the vaccine. So if folks are having a hard time, let us know.
I want to stay within this general area.
Right.
Hamilton, Princeton, East West Windsor.
Did you register with Robert Wood Johnson, Sherry?
No.
Okay, so that's how I got mine, and you can select which, you know, hospitals you want.
Okay.
Apparently Princeton had 719 doses yesterday. It showed up on their website, but I'm sure they were gone within seconds.
Which Princeton?
The hospital.
Plainsboro, Princeton and Plainsboro.
I think the registration is under Penn Medicine.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Princeton, I think you can go to Princeton Hospital and you can go to their website, which is, I have bookmarked, but my husband saw it yesterday. He said it was open from like 2 to 6 or something to register.
The Robert Wood Johnson, is that the one across from Campus I Group?
Yes.
That's where I'm going for surgery.
Yeah, for the Hamilton is there. Exactly. I only know that because I go to Campus I Group.
I also heard Mercer County Community College has.
Ooh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes, Arlene, a lot of our, I think some of our neighbors I know have been vaccinated over at Mercer County College.
I know someone was getting it today and he had a hard time anywhere else finding a place.
Also, CVS
It's job to try to get an appointment.
Mindy, what were you saying?
CVS and Rite Aid both have sites that are pretty easy to see whether there's any appointments. A lot of the other sites just say, sorry, you're out of luck. Sorry, you're out of luck. These, at least you can check the different stores. It makes you feel like you have a choice of.
And the ones that say, sorry, you're out of luck, if you keep refreshing it, every once in a while you get lucky and you hit, and then it's a matter of how fast you type.
Right. Not that fast. Used to be
that way.
Yeah.
I got my first one Tuesday at Rowan in Sewell, New Jersey. We went down. That's big. That's a mega center.
Right. We know some people have driven down there. It's about an hour, a little over an hour.
Yeah,
I don't want to drive that far.
Yeah, I know, but it was
because I only had the car occasionally. My son takes my car to work.
Sorry, love.
Farmless most of the time until 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're gonna get started in 1 minute. Oh, here's Adria.
I just admitted her.
Perfect.
Hi, Adria.
Hi, Andrea.
Bye.
Hi.
Why don't you slide over so Evan can be on more?
I have a cushion in the middle.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
blocking me.
Well, maybe Evan can be in the middle.
Holly, I
Okay.
need to flip, right?
Yep.
Hold on.
Yep. All right, here we go.
Yep.
Swap. There we go.
Yes, we're good.
All righty.
Looks beautiful.
You know, it's so funny. I typed the words and then like beautiful floral and or pink image and purple images popped up. It must have seen the word sisterhood and not like, it's so crazy how these algorithms work. But I thought that this was perfect for today because we really want to channel spring. Passover's our spring festival, you know, all that jazz. All right, friends. I'm muting everyone, not because I don't want to hear from you, but just so that you can sing along and we'll actually be able to sing in unison. And so please join me as often as possible. We have a number of people who volunteered to participate throughout the service. So I'll be calling on you and all the words for everything are going to be up on the screen. I'm so excited to pray with you this Shabbat morning. And I'm using multiple screens, so if I look like I'm looking away from you, I'm just checking out the liturgy. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achyot gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achyot gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achyot gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achyot gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achyot gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achyot gam yachad. How good and pleasant it is for sisters and brothers to be together. So I want to welcome everyone to our third annual pre-Passover Sisterhood Shabbat service, where we're going to be gearing up for this festive occasion, which will be here before you know it. It's early this year, starting at the end of March, which is very unusual. But it'll be here before you know it, and hopefully with it will come even more sunshine and warmer weather. Forgive me if my children or my dog decide that they want to participate in this morning's service, but hopefully they will keep it to themselves. All right, Shelley Miller, take it away.
Do you have the chat off?
Oh, I did. I'll turn the chat back on. That was just a security feature, and everyone has the ability to unmute themselves. So Shelley, if you'll do that for your reading.
Recipe for a life. 1 cup gratitude, 2 tablespoons of humility, a half a teaspoon of pride, 5 cloves of love, 2 crushed, 4 seeds of forgiveness, 2 tall stalks of strength, 1 tablespoon of surrender, 2 sprigs of awe, 3 sprigs of wonder, a half a cup of hard knocks melted, 1 cup fresh squeezed joy, a half a cup of pounded sorrow, 1 cup of wisdom sifted, 1 gleaming ray of light, 2 cubes of compassion, a dash of fleeting time, a pinch of coarse suffering, zest of music, zest of prayer, combine ingredients, stir with abandon. And the chat just got right smack in the middle of my last 2 words. Hold on one moment. Let me get rid of the chat box. Invite friends and sing.
Thank you so much, Shelley. So in the spirit of gratitude with which that reading began, we're going to join together in our blessings for everyday miracles, those things that we often don't think about, we might take for granted, but Jewish tradition instructs us to remember them, that we woke up this morning. That's a miracle. And we all opened our eyes this morning, and that's a miracle. And we all were able to sit up enough that we were able to participate in this morning's service. So the way it'll work is we'll start with the 6 Hebrew words that are very familiar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. And then we'll sing the second line of the English so that it's a little bit more of an accessible text. So it'll be a little bumpy at first, but then hopefully we'll get into a nice rhythm. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who made me in the image of God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah. So when I thought we would have 20 faces on this lovely screen, I thought we might want to chat in the box, but instead we don't have that many, so we're okay. What I'd love then is to open the floor for folks to share something valuable that you have learned from a woman in your family. So I'll give you an example. My mother, I have a very strong memory of her teaching me how to balance a checkbook, which is not something I think any of my peers do, but it was a life skill that taught me how to stay organized. It taught me the importance of keeping a close eye on your finances, and also just the fact that she took the time to do it. Often it was my dad who taught me certain life skills. He just had a little bit more patience, especially with children who are a little hectic. But my mom, this was clearly a high priority for her. And so it was a really meaningful moment, but it was a very crucial life skill. And I do still balance my checkbook. It just looks a little different than when she taught me. So anyone who would like to unmute themselves and go next? Sherry, go for it.
Yeah, my mother always taught me that if you are 15 minutes early to something, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late, and late is not acceptable.
Sherry, is your mother from a German background?
Probably.
As opposed to a Polish or Russian background?
Well, I'm 4th generation.
So hard to know for sure. Okay.
I think going back and looking at my tree, I think she's Alsace-Lorraine area.
Okay.
So it's here or there.
So actually, France and Germany often the Jewish communities there shared a number of characteristics for many years. So definitely more in that neck of the woods. I
always show up 15 minutes early.
Yeah, the further east you go in Europe, we tended to be cool with being later. Yeah. Thanks, Sherry. Who'd like to go next?
I can go next.
I'll go.
For Adria and then Ellen.
So something that my mother taught me, which I haven't been able to use lately, is how to make gefilte fish from scratch. This was something that she always did. And when I was in a position to do it myself, I modified the recipe, taking into consideration Joe Nathan's recipe that adds ground almonds to it. And I found that added some nice textures and flavors to it. And since my husband died 10 years ago, I have made it less and less because there are fewer people in the family that enjoy eating it. My kids don't. And I think my sister does, and my brother-in-law and niece and nephew do not. So it's something that I miss a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's becoming a lost art. Although, you know, with more people getting foodie, there's ways to have more variations on the theme. So you can make like salmon gefilte fish now.
Yes, and I've done that. And I found that having the meat grinder attachment to my KitchenAid saved the life of food processors. Unlike my mother, who prepared me for marriage with a wooden bowl and a hand chopping tool, I no longer do it that way.
Fair enough. All right, Ellen, take it away. Thank you.
So my grandmother was pretty much the matriarch of the family. She was the second oldest of her brothers and sisters, but she was the one that took care of all of her brothers and sisters, perhaps even more so than her mother, as crazy as that is. But I used to spend a lot of weekends sleeping at her house when I was little, and my bedtime stories were always stories about her siblings and her brothers getting in trouble. And so, you know, now that whole generation is gone, and my mother is the eldest of her generation. But I'm really the one that knows a lot of those stories because they were my bedtime stories. And so now, you know, everyone's very interested in finding out, you know, about family roots and so on. But I have the benefits of all those great stories.
Really lovely.
And Evan wanted to go too.
Oh, go for it, Evan.
So one of the things is that my mom is a doctor, and I've always joked that everything I know about medicine I learned from Mom, which has been very helpful given that I'm majoring in public health and I'm doing this internship at the Robert Wood Johnson Women's Hospital Women's Health Institute.
Really nice. Thanks, Evan.
You're welcome.
Cheryl, then Holly.
Okay, mine's a little high risk because my mom's on the phone, so she's there. So, Mom, hi, Mom, I love you. But two things. One is that no matter good or bad, you always maintain your connections with your family and the people you care about, no matter what happens. And the second is she's always helped me get through things by reminding me that this too shall pass. And that for me has helped me get through a lot of stuff. So thanks, Mom.
Nice. Go for it, Holly.
I'm going to take this in a totally different direction. My mother's been deceased now for 3 decades.
Oh no, Holly, you froze. Holly, you froze. We're going to come back to you. I'm going to have Barb share while hopefully you get your connection back.
I'm going to go back to the recipe theme. And it's very apropos also because we're talking about Pesach. My mother taught me a recipe for what we called Passover bagels. They were really not a bagel like a heavy bagel. They were more like an eclair kind of consistency, but because it had the hole, we called it Passover bagel. And by the time she taught me, she was, I think, about the 3rd generation to pass on this recipe. And what was wonderful about it is it required 6 eggs to be stirred in one at a time. And with each egg, it gets harder and harder. So, of course, my father had to have the last 2 eggs because it required a lot of energy. Well, I've passed it on to my son, and we all make it together. I see him maybe twice or 3 times a year since he's out in LA, but Passover is very meaningful to me, and he comes in for that, and we do a lot of stuff together, and including some people might know I have this whole thing on horosis. So, but we do this, and he has actually changed the recipe a little and experimented with different ways of making it. So now it's becoming his own, and he has it.
Really lovely. Thank you, Barb. Has anyone who has not yet shared like to share? And that's okay if you're not feeling it. Eileen.
Yes, I went another different direction. When I was 40 years old, my mother gave me a lifelong gift of teaching me how to play mahjong. And through that, I have made so many lifelong friends, dear friends, who have been through each other through sickness and health and death in the families. And it's just been such a support, especially during this pandemic, when we can't get together in person. We've gotten together through Zoom and played mahjong online. So that's like a wonderful gift that she's given me.
Really lovely. Holly, welcome back. The last we heard was 3 decades ago.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, everybody. I haven't figured out. I'm just on a totally different computer now. Anyway, just real quick. So though my mother's been deceased for 3 decades, back in the 60s and 70s, she, ahead of her time, was an avid civil rights activist. And I feel like I've carried the torch more through social justice, Tikkun Olam, but definitely in spirit as well with civil rights. And my daughter is now 28 and teaching school in New Orleans. Or both of us have the same passion. So it's been decades, and obviously we can't thank her in person, but it's definitely in our DNA.
Nice.
I'll go. So my mom used to embarrass me like there was no end. We lived near Somerville, New Jersey, and I remember her walking down the street and singing and dancing to 70s music, and I was so mortified. And she'd always be the first person on the dance floor at any event, like, Mom, nobody else is there. But what she taught me was it does not matter what anybody else thinks or what anybody else is doing. Just enjoy every minute. And when there's a great song, you sing, you dance, and you enjoy life. And to this day, we do that.
Nice. Shelley, we should compare notes. Would anyone else like to share? All right, we'll move on with our service, but thank you all for sharing so beautifully. All right. I hope we have a lot of lessons that we've learned from all of our family members. But today we're reflecting on the women who have changed us or who have impacted us. Yitgedal v'yitkara shmei Rabba V'yalmad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Bagala bagala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen V'shmei Rabba mevarach Ve'alam u'lamei amaya yitbarach Yitbarach v'yishtabach Yipar v'ramam v'yinasei V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shemei l'kudesha brichu Le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Ta'amiran b'yama V'imru amen Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. call on Ellen to share the first slide in this reading.
Against Hunger by Alden Solofey. God of the poor, God of the starving and the malnourished, the voice of grief echoes across the land. Dismayed and abandoned in a world of abundance, our children, our brothers and our sisters struggle to feed their families, struggle to put food on the table as they watch emptiness and longing consume their kin, as they watch disease and death encircle their homes and their lives. Source of bounty and plenty, rock of compassion and mercy, you call upon us to stand in the name of justice and healing, to witness against indifference and neglect, to solve issues of scarcity and distribution, to create a world of agricultural success in every land and among every people.
Holly.
Thank you. Bless those who dedicate their lives to the hungry and the forgotten. Bless those who take to the cities and the countryside to offer food and sustenance. Bless those who teach others to feed themselves. Bless those whose ideas and research will lead to new solutions for ending this plague. Bless those who plead on behalf of the needy and the poor before the seats of power. Give them courage and determination. Give them wisdom and skill. May the work of their hands never falter, nor despair deter them from this holy calling. Bless the hungry with resources. Release them from want. Hasten the day of their self-sufficiency and bounty. Blessed are you, God of all being, who summons us to oppose the tyranny of hunger.
Thank you. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'aderech u'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu etotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha L'man tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai V'tem yedoshim le'elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. Mindy.
Quote by Abraham Joshua Heschel. Justice is the cornerstone on which Judaism maintains itself relevant. In that sense, Pharaoh is still alive. We are still in Egypt. When we hear and accept what we hear without meeting others, without asking, how can it be? Without looking for friends outside our circles. When we accept hatred for a group as a legitimate discourse, Pharaoh is alive and well inside ourselves.
Yai lai lai yai lai la lai 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 yai lai 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 la lai 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 yai lai la lai la lai la lai 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 yai lai 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 ya la lai lai lai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Shira Chadasha Shibchu Geolim Lishimcha Svat Hayam Yachad Kulam Hodu Behimlichu Ve'amiru Adonai Yimloch Leolam Vaed Adonai Yimloch Leolam Vaed. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Yai lai lai la lai la 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 yai lai lai la lai la 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 ya lai la lai la lai la 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 yai lai 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 ya la lai lai lai. Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi agiti latecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanurah El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevi Gula V'Bnei B'neihem L'Ma'an Shemal V'Yava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magim Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah rav l'hoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem. Mechalkel chayim bechesed. Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. Sohomech noflim v'rofech holim. Umatir asuri, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al kevurot, umido melach, melech memit umechaye, umatmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman nata lahachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hakol. Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam kishem shemarti shimo tobish me'marom kakatuv ayad neviacha v'kara zel zeh ve'amar kadosh 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 Adonai Tzevaot Meloch Haaretz Kevodo Adir Adirenu Adonai Adonenu Adir Shimcha B'chol Haaretz Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimkomo. Echadu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu, Hu Yashmienu, B'rachamav Le'nei Kol Chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai Le'olam, Elohai Tzion. L'dor vador, hallelujah. L'dor vador nagid god lecha, u'lenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nakdish. V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush, le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Vishamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Lidorotam Berit Olam Vishamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Lidorotam Berit Olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, od hi leolam, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים, את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. So we are missing our first reader. Cheryl, do you mind doing this slide in addition to your own?
Sure, no problem. I'll be happy to.
Thank you.
Okay. In Gratitude for Your Gifts by Alden Solovey. Guardian of my life, guide my spirit. In awe we seek you. With blessings we reach you. In communion we call to you. With devotion we come to you. With enthusiasm we turn to you. In faith, we trust in you. With gratitude, we look to you. In humility, we yearn for you. With inspiration, we return to you. And in joy, we praise you.
Sherry. Oh, Sherry, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Source of all being, light of the earth. In kindness you heal us, in love you sustain us, in mercy you forgive us, with nobility you bless us, with openness you hear us, with peace you comfort us, in quiet we hear you, with radiance you bestow your gifts, divine gifts, with splendor you renew the world, in trust you've given us free will.
Soul of the universe, grant us understanding to follow your word, vigor to live by your law, wisdom to follow your path, yearning to study Torah, and zeal for justice and peace.
Thank you both, but thank you, Cheryl, for punting there. Alphabet acrostic poems are very common in Jewish liturgy as an art form that took off in the Middle Ages. And the idea is that when you use every letter of the alphabet, it tries to encompass everything. And so really beautiful acrostic by Alden Solovey. And now we turn to the blessings in our lives. And is there anything anyone would like to share with us that you're thankful for this Shabbat? It can be something small, something momentous. I know none of us talked about our gratitude for the sunshine earlier this morning before we began the service, but we'd love to say thank you to the source of all blessings together. So Sherry, go for it.
Yeah, tomorrow we're having a day of new cage that goes from 4 to about 8 o'clock. It starts late because we have to cover the West Coast.
Understood. And that this is really important learning for Sherry. Sherry does this every year. And it's her commitment to ongoing Jewish education. Really lovely.
And last summer, it was a month of new cage instead of just the 5 days.
Nice.
So it was great. And I'm still doing one of the classes that we started then. We're doing Pirkei Avot that we started at Cage.
Nice.
And we are almost finished the tractate.
Whoa, very exciting. So we say together, Modim Anachnu Lach. Barb.
I am grateful for having both vaccines.
Oh, amen. Let's say together, Modim Anachnu Lach. Cheryl.
And I have to say, I'm grateful that my mom can be on the call with us and that she's here.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Modim anachnu lach. I got my first vaccine this week, and after 8 months of trying, our au pair from Colombia is scheduled to land this coming Friday night. This will be a game changer in the Blumhouse. So we're going to stay together. Modim anachnu lach. Other blessings. Any birthdays, anniversaries? Mindy.
Thankful for the health of family and friends.
Modim anachnu lach. Eileen.
I'm grateful to the congregation for embracing Sisterhood's Purim fundraiser and making the most money we've ever made before, being able to support both the JFCS food pantry and our congregation.
Amazing. And Eileen, I actually preached about it last night because I was so moved. So if anyone who missed it, you can catch it on our YouTube channel, but let's say to that.
Cheryl told me. It was great.
Oh, nice. Modim anachnu lach. Adria.
I'm grateful for Eileen for organizing it and doing all the hard work. The contributions was the easy stuff.
And Cheryl and Alyssa and everybody for brainstorming about how we were going to do it this year, because there was a lot of brains like, how are we going to possibly make all these packages this year? We got to do something. So thank you for everybody for brainstorming.
Yeah, and I know that I speak for Rhonda and myself when I say how grateful we are for the out of the box thinking and really trying to pivot in this unique moment. So modim anachnu lach.
And I'm grateful to the rabbi for her leadership during this difficult time.
Thank you, Ellen. And I want to say I'm grateful to Ellen and Holly for helping me plan today's service. So there you go. Modim anachnu lach. Any other blessings before we move on? Okay, we're going to continue with silent prayer. It's helpful every service to carve out a little bit of time for ourselves, where we're not tied to the words on the screen, although we're welcome to use those as inspiration, where we remember that it's okay to sit in quiet. Often we try to fill our days with busyness and talking and being with people, which is really important. We're going to talk about that more during our Torah service, but also sometimes we just need a moment to ourselves. So we're going to take that moment now. Yehiyu b'ratzon imrei fi ve'yon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri Vigoali We're going to head into our Torah service, and this is what I'd like to do for the blessings before and after the Torah reading. If you would like to join me, we're going to go for the cacophony method, and you're welcome to unmute, and I will lead us, and we know we're going to be out of sync with each other because that's just how Zoom works, but I just want to welcome anyone who wants to join me in this blessing to do so. So go ahead and unmute yourselves as you choose, and I will start us off. So we're not going to have a repeat line because we're all doing this together. Baruch hu et Adonai
Adonai
habarach.
Habarach.
Baruch
Baruch
Adonai
Adonai
habarach
Habarach
le'olam
le'olam
va'ed.
va'ed.
Baruch
Baruch
atah
atah
Adonai
Adonai
Eloheinu
Eloheinu
melech
melech
haolam.
haolam.
Asher
Asher
bachar banu
banu
miko
miko
ha'amim.
ha'amim.
V'natan
V'natan
lanu et
lanu et
Torato.
Torato.
Baruch
Baruch
atah
atah
Adonai
Adonai
noten
noten
haTorah.
haTorah.
It's crazy, but sometimes it's fun to do. All right. So I'm going to lead us in the Hebrew, and then Eileen is going to lead us in the English. Ve'asita shnayim kruvim zahav miksha ta'aseh otam mishnei kitzot hakaporet va'aseh kruv echad mikatsa mizeh וכרוב אחד מקצה מזה, מן הכפורת תעשו את הכרובים על שני קצותיו, והיו הכרובים פורסי כנפיים למעלה, שוחחים בכנפיהם על הכפורת, ובניהם איש אל אחיו. אל הכפורת נהיו פני הכרובים, ונתת את הכפורת על הארון מלמעלה, ועל הארון תיתן את העדות אשר אתן אליך, ונודעתי לך שם, ודיברתי איתך מעל הכפורת, מבין שני הכרובים אשר על ארון העדות, את כל אשר אצווה אותך אל בני ישראל.
Make 2 cherubim of gold. Make them of hammered work at the 2 ends of the cover. Make 1 cherub at one end and the other cherub at the other end. Of one piece with the cover shall you make the cherubim at its 2 ends. The cherubim shall have their wings spread out above, shielding the cover with their wings. They shall confront each other, the faces of the cherubim being turned toward the cover. Place the cover on top of the ark, after depositing inside the ark the pact that I will give you. There I will meet you, and I will impart to you from above the cover, from between the 2 cherubim that are on top of the ark of the pact, all that I will command you concerning the Israelite people.
Thank you, Eileen. So we are in Parshat Truma, a Torah portion in the book of Exodus. We have received the Torah from Mount Sinai, and now we are being instructed to build what in Hebrew is called the Mishkan, in English, the tabernacle, which is a portable house for God. And this is the week where we begin the very lengthy instruction process for how to build this sacred space for God. And this is just one small section I took out that I think is really powerful for us to look at closely together. So many people may be familiar with the English word cherubim, the cherubs, and it comes from this Hebrew word, cherubim, which is very similar to the word for cabbage, which makes me laugh, but it's okay, it's a different word. But the English actually comes from the Hebrew. And what are some of the associations that you have just from growing up in America, which we have to remember is a Christian context, that a cherub may look like? What are the visual images that come to mind? You got to unmute.
You're an angel.
So, but describe it to me. What does this little angel look like?
A little baby with wings.
Yes, the cherubs are considered these like little toddlers with wings. They're so cute, and they got puffy cheeks and little fat rolls, and very sweet looking and endearing. Note to the wise, all images of angels in the Hebrew Bible are very scary. The first time we meet an angel is actually when we're expelled from the Garden of Eden, and a fiery angel with a sword is designated by God to guard the garden so that we never go back in. So like that's where we first meet angels. And as we progress, they get scarier and scarier, especially as we get into the prophetic texts where the angels tend to be the harbingers of fire and brimstone and things like that. So while I don't believe that these cherubs were as scary as some of these other images of angels, we're not really seeing these baby-like images is so much in our sacred text. And so it's not likely that they were, but definitely whatever these creatures looked like, they had wings. Now let's just get the basic sense of the text, just like what exactly is going on here. How are these cherubs supposed to be positioned? What is the layout for the cherubs?
They're at each end of the cover and they're facing each other with their wings over their heads.
Okay, so the wings are over their heads. So we have to think that like we have these big wingspans that are coming up out of this cover. But we have to go back to Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's what we're talking about here. The Ark of the Covenant. So not a coffin,
good job of copying it.
But like think of similar dimensions as a coffin, and we have the stone tablets that are supposed to go in there that contain the 10 commandments that Moses brought down from Mount Sinai. So this is an aron. It literally means closet. This is a sacred closet. And it's the same exact word we use today when we put the Torah in the ark. It's another sacred closet, but it's really, that's what it is. Only this is a portable closet. So it's horizontal on the ground and it has a cover. And the cover is supposed to be very ornate and beautiful and includes gold. And we have a cherub on either end with wings over their head. But what detail are we missing here?
They're staring down at the cover.
Not at the
They're
cover.
Looking at each other.
No, it says their faces are being turned toward the cover.
So they shall confront each other.
Right.
Okay, so interesting. So I've always heard the stress of that sentence. So here, sorry, I can't highlight it right now. So this sentence in the middle here, the stress being that they're looking at each other, no matter what, their bodies are facing each other.
Right, their bodies.
Okay, so interesting.
My translation is their faces toward one another.
Aha.
Their faces. Okay.
So here is where translation is everything.
Yeah.
I'm going back up to the Hebrew to try to get a better sense of what might actually be going on in the original. And it's probably unclear. So, okay, here we go. They're facing.
But
so ufnehem ish el achiv. That's the phrase that is getting to the heart of it. And their faces one towards the other.
Oh, yes, but how do you shield the cover with their wings if they're facing each other? Then it seems to me
the wings, I believe, just go up.
No, well, it says shielding. Okay, I get a whole different.
I want to say it's like casting a shadow on the cover.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? So here, this is tricky stuff. This is the Hebrew is not entirely clear. Biblical Hebrew is very terse. Even modern Israeli Hebrew, we use more words in English than they use in Hebrew. So you really have to pick apart what's going on here. And don't forget, like, this is supposed to be an instruction manual, but think of back, my father used to joke stereo instruction manuals from the 80s, that like, oh my goodness, am I going to make this work? But usually commentators talk about how the cherubim are facing one another.
Oh.
So we have these beautiful golden images that are going to be affixed to the container that possesses our most holy ritual object at this moment, God's word, which Jewish tradition understands was actually written by God. Moses did the actual chiseling, but God is imbued in all of this. And we have the most humanoid life forms, images of humanoid life forms that we can muster, because we have to be careful because we don't want to make any idols. But this is what God is telling us to put on top of the container for our most sacred treasure. And they're looking at each other. they're facing one another. Even if their faces are facing down, their bodies are facing towards each other, that there's a sense that they're in communication with each other, that they may even be in relationship with each other, that they go together. And you might have thought that they'd face out, right? That we want God's teaching that's in to radiate out, but instead the instruction is to have them face one another. And I think, Sherry, and then I'll go to what I think about that. Go ahead.
Midrash, when God was, quote, satisfied or happy with what the people were doing, they faced each other. When God was not, when he was on the outs, they turned away from each other.
So this is the rabbinic imagination of these gold statues actually moving of their own accord.
Yes.
But
good old Midrash.
But the Midrash reinforces this understanding that the message here is that God wants us to be connected to each other, to be in relationship with each other, and to do what God instructed. That goes without saying, but that's not enough. That when God created the first person, God said it's not good for people to be alone. And God realized that another person needed to be created. And so then we get two first people. Similar reinforcement here. And there's so much written about the connections between the creation of the tabernacle and how there's so many echoes in our creation story in the book of Genesis, that there's so many parallels, so many similar words that are used or similar formulations, that God is trying to sort of recreate something beautiful and holy and sacred that we're going to carry around with us, and is reinforcing really important messages like it's not good for people to be alone. And how amazing is it that even in a pandemic, unlike 100 years ago during the flu pandemic, we can still be face to face. And it doesn't mean we're sitting in striking distance of one another, but I can see each and every one of you, and I can talk to you, and we can maintain this relationship and create a sacred space through virtual space, which is something that would not have even been possible 30 years ago, let alone 100 years ago. So I just want to remind us that we are so very much missing our sacred space. I'm invoking that right now with my picture background with the stained glass windows that the Sisterhood actually helped come to be a number of years ago, that are one of the most beautiful spots I feel in the congregation. And I do care very deeply about that physical space. But at the end of the day, it's the space between the cherubim. It's the space that we're creating right now that's the most important. And without us, there is no sacred space. And so really beautiful lessons coming out of this week's Torah portion, which we could easily be overwhelmed by all the intricate details about building the tabernacle, but a couple of really beautiful nuggets for us to hang our kippahs on. Any last questions before we go forward with the blessing after the Torah?
Well, couldn't it be, you're looking inward toward the Torah or the community or the sacred space, as opposed to sort of looking outward and away from it?
Right, absolutely. This idea that we always want to be looking inward. And there's a rabbinic edict not to separate yourself from the community. The moment you turn away, I mean, you suffer, but also the community suffers. Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. All right, I welcome anyone who wishes to unmute themselves again for our final cacophony moment of the service. And we'll join in the blessing after the reading of Torah together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam haba b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. And it wouldn't be a service without Mishiberach, as we invoke the names of our ancestors, the women and men who came before us, asking God to remember our loved ones who are in need of healing, just as God remembered those who came before. And so if you are thinking of anyone this Shabbat, you can unmute and share those names or type them in the chat box. We want to really draw from this sacred community and the sacred space strength, and then send that strength back out into the universe, because there are so many in need of healing. Sherry.
Take less time for me to read it than type it. Yosifachaya Shoshana bat Rachalea, Shandal bat Balafreda, Chana bat Elka, Chava bat Miriam, Chaya Liba Bat Zeta, Manya Blima Bat Malka, Sandy Lohman, Menachem Mendel Ben Rachel, James Block, Yehuda Shmuel Yaakov Ben Chana Liba, Yom Tov Chaim Ben Chaya Liba, Aaron Ben Chaya Liba. That's it. Takes too long to type.
Any others? Okay. Feel free.
Rest are being typed.
Yep. Fabulous. All right. Well, in their names, we pray, although I'm going to ask everyone to stay muted this time. Mi shebeirach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. All right, we're going to head into Aleinu, our prayer for Tikkun Olam, our prayer that the full traditional text reminds us that it's our job to partner with God to make this world a better place. And I know so many of you are dedicated to this project and work very hard to do that both locally and beyond. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu giyoye haratzot, v'lo samanu k'nishpachot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Difnei melech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, U'shemo echad. Our thoughts turn to all those who've gone before us. And if there are any names of loved ones that you'd like to share, my family is in the period of Shloshim for my husband's grandfather, Morris Blum, who would have been 99 next month. And his memory, we pray, will always be a blessing. Anyone else we'd like to dedicate this Kaddish to this morning? You're also welcome to type names in the chat box. Okay. We recite together. Yit Gedal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach Yerutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mivarach le'alam, Ul Amei Almaya. Yit Barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata za'amiran v'yama v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Useh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memory always be a blessing. Yet again, I'd like to thank Ellen Chason and Holly Singer for their help in making today's service possible, getting us organized. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to everyone who participated. Ellen helped me choose the readings. I thought they were a really beautiful blend of tying in this theme of getting ready for Passover, the cooking that we're anticipating tomorrow's program at 1 o'clock. So please join us. And we also selected a number of tunes to our songs by female artists, especially Debbie Friedman, who we're actually remembering the 10th anniversary of her passing this winter. And so our closing song will be She's Gonna Sing For You, because I will not do it justice. Yes, Sherry, your announcement.
There is a program on Tuesday night, February 23rd from 92Y with Debbie. I put the link in the chat.
Oh, thank you. All right, I'm just trying to get us out of this to the
Starts
video.
at 7.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. There we go. All right, I'm going to play for you Debbie's own music. Hold on, I gotta gear it up to the right spot. So this is actually from a URJ biennial convention. So this was the Reform Movement getting together every 2 years, a concert that she led, and she's teaching the song. So hopefully you'll be able to catch on and start singing along with her. Okay, let me share this with my audio. And I will let Debbie close this out.
Spring up a well and sing ye unto it. Spring up a well and sing ye unto it. Again, spring up a well and sing ye unto it. A little louder. Spring up a well and sing ye unto it. Four times. Ready? Oh, the water in the well. Oh, the water in the well and the healing in the well. The women and the water and
We lost it.
You're sharing your own screen.
Okay, hold on, everybody. We had a technical, there we go.
Gathered upon hearing God's command. There was a bit of water that was left, or so they tell. That was the water that became the water from the well. Oh, the water in the well and the healing in the well. The women and the water and the hope that's in the well. Oh, the water in the well and the healing in the well. The women and the water and the hope that's in the well. Well came to be to celebrate her music, her dance and prophecy. And the people came to Miriam when their spirits rose and fell. She nourished all their visions with the water from the well. Oh, the water in the well and the healing in the well. The women in the water and the hope that's in the well. Oh, the water in the well and the healing in the well. The women and the water and the hope that's in the well. Spring up a well, the 12 tribes sang, and the rushing waters flowed. High as pillars into rivers, to the oceans they did go. Surrounded by the trees and fruits so rich and bountiful, the Israelites were nourished by the water from the touch this rock and water will appear. Well, Moses raised his staff in anger, and upon the rock it fell. And out came springs of water. It was water from the... Oh, the water in the well and the healing in the well. The women and the water and the hope that's in the well. And the water in the well and the healing in the well. The women and the water and the hope that's in the well. For the memory of the women, for the memory of the well, for the ones who came before us, their stories we must tell. We are searching for the water where we wander, where we dwell. For Miriam and all of us who thirst to find the well. Oh, the water in the well and the healing in the well. The women and the water and the hope that's in the well. Oh, the water in the well and the healing in the well. The women and the water and the hope that's in the well. Oh, the water and the healing in the well. The women and the water and the hope that's in the well. Oh, the water in the well and the healing in the well. The women and the water and the hope that's in the well. The water in...
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Thanks for coming.
I love watching AJ with the
So
tea.
wonderful.
Thank you, Holly and Ellen and Rabbi.
I love
This was a
watching
wonderful
AJ with the
Thank you,
sign.
Holly, Ellen, and Rabbi. So awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
It was wonderful.
Bye.
Thank you.
She is.
Enjoy the day and see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock
See you
for cooking.
tomorrow.
I won't be there tomorrow.
Bye.
Shabbat shalom.
I have to
Shabbat
get ready
shalom.
for new cage.
You do you, Carrie. Enjoy.